So, Project Management Professional or CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. There are some aspirants who are doing PMP, other are doing CAPM. You both are together here because the overall curriculum for both the certifications are same. The difference is the exam. Exam for CAPM is comparatively easy. On the other side, PMP exam is much tougher than CAPM. But the good thing is, for CAPM, you need to study for 23 hours. For PMP, you have to study for 35 hours. It means that later, when you will get your certificate of completion, if you want to appear for CAPM, your choice. You want to go for PMP, your choice. Certificate of completion would equally applicable to both of the certifications. Now, let's start with the discussions. I am Faiz. I did my PhD in Internet of Things from University of Auckland, master's from the same university. My country of origin is Pakistan. I did my bachelor in engineering, in computer engineering back in Pakistan. I also did a diploma in adult education and training from SIT because I am in this domain of training and coaching. So it was pretty important that I should know that what are the best practices to train people, to coach people so that they can get what they require. I'm associated with PMI with the help of my school, that is PM Training School. It is an authorized training partner. And I am also project management professional. I also did a certification in ACP. ACP stands for Agile Certified Practitioners. And then I also did a certification in professional in business analysis. That's my brief background. Before starting, I would request everyone just talk about yourself, your background, your experience, especially in project management, and explain your current project management practices in your organization with the help of single word. This word could be a serious word, a funny word, whatever you like. Please.
Sure. Tanya here. Nice to meet you all. I'm currently self-employed. When COVID came along, the work I was doing, which was working on business improvement, pretty much stopped. Done a number of projects in previous lives with the likes of Griffins, with a training school or an industry training organisation, but not formally, I guess, certified it. So really looking at opportunities going forward with a formal certification to help.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm trying to write a book.
Awesome.
Which is fantasy fiction. So no project management in that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah. Thanks, Tanya. Yes. You can basically switch on your mics because they are off.
Yeah, no one wants to go next, Vice.
Yeah.
Hi all, my name is Myra. I am currently working as a project coordinator for an internet IT company based in Auckland. And I've been working as a project coordinator for about 3 years now. My main role is to manage small projects delivering Microsoft ERP system to government and private organizations and enterprise. And the goal is to become a full-fledged project manager once I get certified for PMP.
Yep. Surely. And that's what we are aiming.
Correct.
Thanks, Myra.
Hi, Pace. I'm Pedro Remoto. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So currently, I just left my work outside the country, and since lockdown, I was here in the country, and I'm trying to upskill myself and to look for employment here in New Zealand.
Awesome. Yeah.
I was connected with the mineral industry,
Yeah.
but there's no. I have some trainings on management, but they are mostly internal and
True.
not the formal thing like this.
True. Yeah. Thanks,
That's
Pedro.
it for me. Thank you.
Cheers.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Eamon.
This is Ayman. I had a master in mechanical engineering, and I was working before as a design engineer. My experience around 5 years on that field. Currently, I'm a member with engineering in New Zealand and studying one course here to get ready to work in New Zealand as an engineer. And I'm studying PMP to improve my career as well.
Thanks. Thanks, Eamon.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Grace.
Hello, Faiz. Hi, good evening, and good evening to
evening.
everyone. Yeah, well, I'm Grace. I'm currently working with a telco company, which is based in Christchurch. Well, it's all over New Zealand, basically. And I've just taken on a project managerial role. My previous role was a project coordinator.
Awesome.
More on the business delivery
Yep.
side of things of the business. And since I've taken on a project manager role, I have to certify myself.
Yeah.
Yes, well, as part of the requirements. And yeah, and apart from that, I'd also like to have a very basic, knowledge and frameworks of the project management. And so I'm trying to complete the CAPM, and then hopefully after 5
Yeah.
years, I think, will be the PMP.
Yeah, it totally depends. We will talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Grace. Heaven, can you hear us? Your mic is off. Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah, hey, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I'm just a builder trying to upskill, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. So what's your background, Vin?
Been building for 15 years.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, man. So, well, it's good that we have aspirants from all diverse backgrounds. So it means that we will be able to build on each other's knowledge, and we will learn that how project management framework or standard by PMI could apply to all different domains, all different sectors. Thanks, everyone. So we are just moving further. Few slides about these slides. Obviously, these are the slides that we prepared, and these are our copyright. You can contact us anytime on this number. Email address is given to you, and website is also provided here. So we are just moving forward. A bit background about PM Training School, but before that, let's talk about PMI. Project Management Institute. As I just mentioned, they are basically one of the global standard setting body, and in fact, the most popular and most authentic standard setting body in project management. And they are the one who basically publish a lot of different standards in different domains, but relevant with the project, programs, portfolios. We are going to study about all these different management areas soon. It was established back in 1969, so it's almost 51 years. They offer around 12 certifications. Out of 12 certifications, 5 certifications are in Agile and Disciplined Agile. Their certifications are considered the gold standard in project management, business analysis, program management, and portfolio management. They have more than 300 chapters around the globe. PMI New Zealand is one of the chapters. I'm also associated with PMI New Zealand, and I am volunteering for their Auckland branch. I also run an authorized training partner of PMI. We call it PMI Global. And this was established back in 2015. We train people for the certifications. We also train people in technical project management, soft skills, business knowledge, project management, business analysis, agile framework, program management, discipline agile, so on and so forth. Our solutions include face-to-face learning. Before COVID, most of our classes used to run face-to-face, but because of this new normal, people start accepting live streaming. That's working pretty good for us and also for the aspirants. Now they have much more flexibility, and we also have this flexibility. We operate in New Zealand mostly, but we also train aspirants from US, Middle East, Pakistan and India, so on, so forth. So this was brief introduction about PM Training School. Now let's move toward our certification, that is PMP and CAPM. And it looks like we have one aspirant, Grace, and she's interested in CAPM, where all other aspirants want to go for PMP. I already explained the only difference is the exam. We are going to talk about the exam of PMP and CAPM soon. Now, where we are going to study project management in detail, where we are going to learn a lot about project management from initiation till closure. But firstly, let's talk about exam itself. Why? Because most of the aspirants, they are here not only to learn about project management, how PMI sees project management, but also they want to get this gold standard certification of CAPM or PMP. There are various reasons behind it. Everybody has its own reason. Can I ask why you want to get PMP or CAPM, Pedro?
Well, I'm just going to wanted to get certifications that are recognized here in New Zealand because my industry exposure was mostly from the Philippines. So it has a different standard. So I wanted to have something that I have that is recognized in the country to find some work.
Awesome. So basically, you really want to increase your chances of employability. Similarly, can anybody else share that why they want to get their PMP certification? Myra?
Sure, that would be increasing my salary potential and also my promotability.
True. So on top of that, once you are PMP, basically you are set apart from your colleagues who are not PMP. You really get that knowledge and really prove your real world knowledge and experience that nobody question about it. Once you are PMP or CAPM, nobody can say that you really don't know project management. You don't have skills or knowledge, or you don't know about the tools and techniques that are used for successful completion of a project. Now, before talking about other bits of the PMP or CAPM exam, let's talk about that what is required to appear for PMP or CAP exam. In fact, there are 3 phases. The first phase is when you complete your project management education, and that's what you are currently doing. Then there comes second phase where basically you apply for PMP or CAPM. When you wanna apply for PMP or CAPM, for this sake, you have to go to PMI website, you have to make your account, you can become their member, but it's not compulsory. However, it's highly recommended to become PMI members because of number of reasons. We are going to talk about them soon. Once you go to PMI website, you apply for CAPM or PMP, they will ask you to fill an application. And in that application, basically they talk about your general education. That could be your academic degrees, maybe bachelor or master's, and also maybe high school diploma or maybe any level 4 certificate. They also talk about your project management education that you are going to get through this course, and the certificate of completion will fulfill this particular requirement. And again, this course is not just to fulfill the requirement. The purpose of this course is so that you can clearly understand how PMI sees project management. You must be doing project management for a long time, but maybe you are not following a streamlined standard. That's what you are going to learn. And we are going to learn this over the period of 4 weeks, Monday to Thursday, 9 to 11 p.m., as you all aware of. On top of that, they also talk about project management experience. Now, when we talk about project management experience, that's we should discuss more about it. Firstly, let's have a look on option 1. That is when you got a bachelor degree. Can I please ask how many of you got a bachelor degree?
I do.
Awesome.
No.
Yeah.
I've got a bachelor's
I get,
degree.
yeah, I get a bachelor's degree, but not from this country.
Oh, that's all right, because like the PMP certification is a global certification. It's not only applicable to New Zealand, but it is applicable to everywhere. So people who got their bachelor degree, for them, the project management education required is 35 contact hours, and we are going to fulfill these requirements. On top of that, they want you to keep to show your experience in project management. It needs not to be in the role of a project manager. This role could be project coordinator, project supervisor, or maybe just supervisor, or maybe project team member who is involved on different stages of a project. We are going to talk about those different stages soon. On top of that, they want at least 3 years of experience. And when we say 3 years of experience, they are talking about non-overlapping experience. For example, starting from 2015, 16, 17. Similarly, if you did one project, for example, 2015 to 2016, and other project you did from 2015 to 2016, mean you were working on 2 different projects, it means that they will consider this duration as a 2 years. They will not consider this duration as a 4 year. So that's the meaning of non-overlapping. And then there comes the most important bit, the number of questions that will come on your PMP exam. And they are 200 questions. We are going to dig deep into questions, question types, how they would look like, so on, so forth. Then there comes PMP option for those people who did high school. For them, project management education requirements are same. However, longer project management experience in different roles and longer duration is required for the people who did their high school or any equivalent diploma or certificate. Exam question would be same, again 200, and you have to complete these 200 questions in 4 hours. Mean you have to focus a lot during these 4 hours. The toughest exam you will find out in those 4 hours. And the people who want to do for certified associate in project management or CAPM, their requirements are that their formal education should be a secondary diploma, and they need to study 23 contact hours. That's just a requirement, but we are going to study 35 contact hours. We will discuss each bit of these certifications and project management in detail. This particular certification is for those people who are fresh graduates or who are junior project managers or project coordinators. So there is no particular experience required or number of hours on project management is required for CAPM. The good thing is, once you did your CAPM and later after 3 or 5 years, you want to do your PMP, then you need not to prepare for that. The course you are currently doing will be equally applicable when you will appear for PMP. So basically, this is a natural progression. You go from CAPM to PMP. The total questions you have to answer are 150, and you have to complete these questions in 3 hours. The difference is the PMP questions are comparatively tough, whereas CAPM questions are comparatively simple. Any questions?
No.
Thanks, Tanya. Now, my first question is, are you ready for this training?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're ready for this training, you have to keep few things in mind, because you are going for a certification that is by PMI. It means that you should be well versed with PMI terminologies. When I say PMI terminologies, or we sometimes call it PMIism. What is this? This is basically how Project Management Institute sees project management. When they talk about charter, what does it mean? When they talk about project management plan, what does it mean? When they talk about work breakdown structure, or when they say that there is a difference between work packages and activities, what does this mean? That's what you need to understand. And believe me, when you will finish this course, you will have very clear idea about most of the terminologies by PMI. Secondly, if you are going for PMP or CAPM, you always need to think in context of a large project. If you will be thinking about in a context of a project that is maybe $200,000 project, where there are 5 team members, and this is done in South Auckland, for example, then you will not really see that how PMP or CAPM standard is applicable to this type of project. But once you will think about a project that will be multi-million-dollar project that is spread over a geographical areas where there are hundreds of team members, and there could be thousands of stakeholders, then you will clearly see that what PMI is talking about, how PMI standards and associated processes apply to those projects. We already talked about our phase 2. This is basically phase 2. Once you will complete this course, you have to go to PMI website. You have to launch your application. Once you will submit your application to PMI, what PMI does is it reviews that application. Normally confirms within 2 working days that you are eligible for CAPM or PMP exam, and then you can go and book that exam. When I say when you go and book that exam, you can book that exam through Pearson VUE Center. I hope you are aware of these type of exam centers. And there are many different types, such as Prometric, Pearson VUE. Previously, PMI exams were with the Prometric Center, and there was only one center in whole New Zealand, that was in Mount Albert, AIS Now what they did is they changed from Prometric Center to Pearson VUE Center that are in fact in most of the big cities. For example, in Auckland, you can find it in Ponson Bay, you can find it uh, on Simon Street, University of Auckland. They also run their Pearson VUE Center. But good thing is, previously you have to go for these centers. Now you can also go and appear for these exams while sitting in your office, while sitting in your home. And these are called proctor exam, where basically there will be an online examiner or online invigilator who will uh, keep monitoring you while you will attempting your exam. But it's a big facility. Another important thing is when you will get this confirmation from PMI that you can appear for CAPM or PMP, you have to appear in 1 year of time. If you cannot appear, then you have to apply again to PMI. Also, remember that if you appear for the exam, I'm pretty sure most of you will pass your exam in first attempt. But if one cannot pass an exam, you will have 2 more attempts. So in total, 3 attempts in 1 year time, and you can go for that exam. Also, let's talk about the fee. Fee for PMP exam and also CAPM exam. Fee for the non-members, non-PMI members for PMP is $555 that you need to submit to PMI USA. However, if you get membership of $139 and then you only have to pay $405 for the exam. It means it's very obvious that you should get your membership and then you should apply for PMP exam. What are the advantages of membership? In fact, most of the resources of PMI that they publish, basically you can get them and you can apply them in your organization while you are practicing project management. That would be basically foundational standards, guidelines, body of knowledge, practice guides, templates, so on and so forth. And not only for project management, but also for the business analysis, program management, portfolio management, risk management, so on, so forth. So it is highly recommended that people who are going for PMP, they should choose this package. On the other side, people who are going for CAPM, $300 is fee for those who are non-PMI members, and $225 is the fee that is for members. And again, it is highly recommended that you should become PMI member so that you can access all the resources. On top of that, if you are interested to involve in project management activities in New Zealand, you can also become PMI New Zealand member by paying 60 New Zealand dollars. And our main office is in Wellington. However, I can facilitate you for the membership if required. Any question?
All good for me.
Thanks,
No
Grace.
Is there a pass mark?
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty important question, but answer is no. I'm sorry about that, but PMI doesn't publish passing marks. Now, we are going to talk about exam soon, and I will comment that what percentage is basically good for the passing marks, but they don't publish passing marks. In fact, our next slide is about the exam. Now, as I already mentioned, PMP exam is of 200 questions, CAPM exam is for 150 questions. For both exams, you will get around 4 answer choices. That's why we call them MCQs. Okay, so basically what would happen? A question will be given to you, and then there will be four options, and you have to choose one. When you choose that option, you can always go back and change that option, your choice. So basically you can mark it. Exam system allow this. And the good thing is there is no negative marking. Mean if there are 200 questions, you should attempt all 200 questions. On the other side, for CAPM, the same scenario, there will be 4 answer choices per question and you have to choose one. The difference is CAPM question would be much easier as compared to PMP. PMP question would be more scenario based and really test your real life experience. Now, single question may contain multiple topics. What does it mean? It means that we are going to study around 10 to 15 different knowledge areas, different knowledge domains in our CAPM or PMP study. And those knowledge domains are integration management, for example, scope management, schedule or cost management, how to ensure quality, how to manage risks on projects, what about communications, or how to manage both physical and human resources, or how to conduct procurement, or how to engage stakeholders, and many other domains. Each question may comprise of more than one domain. Maybe they are talking about stakeholders on one end and procurement on the other end. In PMP, out of 200 questions, there would be around 25 experimental questions. When we say 25 experimental questions, it means that they will not be counted while they will be marking your exam. In other words, you will be marked out of 175 questions. These experimental questions are for future exam purposes. They want to see that what's the response of the aspirant to those future questions. This doesn't apply to CAPM. I already told you that 1 point awarded per correct answer. In other words, out of 175 questions, total marks would be 175. And if you get around 115 to 120 questions correct, mean there are strong chances that you are going to pass your PMP exam. So 65 to 69% is basically, that's an educated guess. That's what we got from our experience, from our different aspirants who appear for PMP. If you are getting 65 to 69% questions right, then consider yourself pass in CAPM or PMP, because equally the same ratio applies to CAPM. It's not only about the certification you get, but they also want you to basically maintain your certification. And that certification maintenance requires around 60 PDUs. PDUs stand for Professional Development Units. You have to get 60 PDUs each 3 years. And those PDUs could be achieved through different ways, by doing different trainings, by participating in PMI events, by giving back to the sector, by giving some talks, or by doing another certification. For example, if you go for PMI PBA, that is Professional in Business Analysis, later after doing PMP, then you will get 35 contact hours and 35 PDUs. But you have to maintain your certification in good health. On the other side, for CAPM, this is only 15 PDUs each 3 years to maintain. That's why it is highly recommended that you should also join PMI New Zealand, so that once you will attend their events, you will be getting your PDUs. We already talked about the exam fee.
Oops.
Exchange it.
Changing, yeah.
Yeah, so we are not lucky. For PMP, still it's 405 for non-members, and 555 for the members. On the other side, this is for CAPM. It's just a copy-paste error, so just excuse me. And then there comes PMI membership fee, 120 to join, and plus $10 for application fee. So I already told you $139 to become PMI member, and 129 to renew. I also told you that 60 New Zealand dollar is for PMI New Zealand. This information is pretty important for people who wanna appear for PMI certification. Mean they are going to associate themselves with PMI and a regional chapter like PMI New Zealand. So this information was pretty important. PMI New Zealand fee for CAPM for PMP is same membership fee. Any questions?
Faiz, how long does the membership last? Like how,
Annual.
when are you supposed to renew?
Annual.
Sorry?
This is yearly. So
yearly, annual. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have to go for annual membership renewal, and the fee is around 129 US dollars.
The certification is 3 years,
Expensive.
though, is it?
Yeah, sorry.
Certification is every 3 years.
Yeah, so basically, once you get your PMP, basically you got your PMP. After that, you don't want to be PMI member, your choice. You are already PMP, but PMI wants you to keep it in a good health. So they prefer you to get 60 PDUs and be associated with PMI. But again, at the end, it's your choice.
Okay, so a unit can be classed as an hour?
Yeah, one PDU is basically one contact hours. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, now let's talk about exam and its different domains. In fact, till 31st of December. So that's the date everybody needs to remember, though it doesn't apply to CAPM. Okay, but for PMP, 31st of December 2020, if you are going to appear for PMP exam, you are going to be tested from these domains. These are basically called exam domains, and we also call them process groups. I'm not going to talk about process groups at this point of time. Consider them as exam domains. The first domain is project initiating. Around 13% of the questions will come from project initiating. What you need to do as a project manager when you start your project, when project is being initiated, and then around 24% of the questions out of 200 questions, meaning in other words 48 questions, will come from project planning. This is the phase where you do a thorough planning for your project. Remember, when I say a thorough planning for your project, I am talking about waterfall project management approach or plan-driven project management approach. We are going to talk about different project management approaches, but one of the most mature approach that is heavily used in construction sector, in manufacturing, or telecommunication, or even in IT, those sectors which are pretty mature, practices are pretty mature, we use the approach called waterfall approach. Waterfall approach is also called plan-driven approach. In simple words, you do a thorough planning before execution of your project. So around 25% of the 24% of the question will come from project planning. Then there comes project executing. It talks about follow your plan and execute the work as per your plan. And the activities you do, exam will test those activities, your skills, your knowledge about those activities. Around 31% of the questions will come from this domain. So highest percentage is from executing, and make a lot of sense too. Then there comes next domain, that is monitoring and controlling of different project activities, project resources, project artifacts, overall the whole project. And that starts from initiating till closure. So you do your monitoring and control from start till end of your project. Around 25% of the questions that make 50 questions out of 200 will come from monitoring and controlling. And then there comes the last domain called project closing or project closure. Around 14 questions or 7% of the questions will come from project closure and your understanding of how to close a project in an appropriate manner. But again, let's go back to our date, that is 31st of December 2020. These domains are applicable once you are appearing for exam before 31st of December 2020. However, if you are appearing later than that, or by unluckily you failed in the first attempt and second attempt is coming in 2021, in that case, what PMI did is they always keep on researching. They always keep on talking with the industry. So they conduct their different surveys. They call it pulse of the profession surveys. As a result of those surveys, they always keep on improving their body of knowledge or standard. They always keep on improving their exam as well, and also their exam domains. So if you are going to appear for PMP exam, again, it's not applicable to CAPM. However, the people who are studying CAPM and later they want to go for PMP, this knowledge is equally beneficial for them. From 2nd of January 2021, what PMI does is they combine all those 5 domains. You remember initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. They combine them in one domain, and 50% of the exam will come from this domain. Now they call them processes, or in other words, project management processes. Around 42% of the questions will come from people. When I say people, basically the people who are involved in a project, or in other words, our stakeholders. In fact, when I was attempting my PMP exam, out of 200 questions, around 70 to 80% questions were around stakeholders. How to deal with the stakeholders when you are doing your resource management, your costing, your budgeting, your scheduling, or setting scope, or when there is a change request from the stakeholder, from the client, how you will deal it. Or if there is a conflict between the team members, how you will deal it. In fact, around 70 to 80% of the questions contain this word called stakeholders. That's why they made this as a whole domain and call it people, and 42% of the question will come from this domain. And then there comes business environment, where we say that project management is a discipline itself, and who got good knowledge of project management, they can work across the sectors. But again, if someone is working in the construction sector in one organization, he or she knows about that organization, that organizational culture, that business environment very well as compared to another sector or another organization within the same sector. So it's pretty important that you are well aware of business environment and the context in which you are working. So 8% of the question will come from the business environment and how it impacts your project management activities. Any question? Okay, yeah, let's move further. Since middle of 20th century, project management approach of plan driven, we call it plan driven approach or waterfall approach. This is heavily used throughout the industries. Either it was construction, manufacturing, software, telecommunication, retails, government. This was the approach to use, where we do a thorough planning, then follow that plan. And if there is a change, we have to go through a proper change control procedure to carry out that change. But what happened is, at the end of 20th century, or in fact, in the start of 21st century, uh, the people from the software industry, they sit together. They said that, okay, it could work very fantastically for the for the construction, for the manufacturing, but it's not working for us. It takes too much time. And when we do a very thorough planning, suddenly client requirements change. Suddenly technology change, and then we have to start again. We have to scrap our plan. So it is not going to work. What they did is, they sit down and they talk about a different way of working, and that's called agile way of working. We are going to talk about agile way of working soon, but important thing to remember is agile is started from software industry, and from previous 20 years it proven its effectiveness. For this sake, what happened is, all other sectors, all other organizations, they start adopting agile practices and agile mindset. So at the moment, the situation is either it's a government industry, or either it's government or any retail industry or telco or IT, or even in construction, when we talk about lean construction management, uh, or in the facilities industry, or in the procurement, or even in HR, agile is heavily used. People start adopting agile mindset and agile practices. So it means that if you are project management professional, not only you should know about plan driven approach, but you are well versed with the agile approach as well. So previously, till 31st of December 2020, most of the questions are around waterfall, though there is always a hint of agile questions, but they were not in depth. Now what they did is, they basically divided into three different types of project management approaches. They said that 50% of the questions will come from waterfall, 23% will come from agile, and 27% will come from hybrid approach. And from name, you can understand a hybrid approach is basically just a combination of waterfall and agile approaches. We are going to talk about uh, all of these in much more depth in rest of the 4 weeks. Here, important thing to remember is, if you are going to appear for PMP exam after Christmas, then you need to understand agile well. But the good thing is, when we are going to talk about project management in this training, we will keep this thing in mind, and we will discuss agile at least up to that level where you should be ready for the exam even after Christmas 2020. Any questions?
Guys, to get when do you suggest the cutoff would be to apply to do it this year? So how long does it take them to process? And is it likely to be busy, like this centers, will they be full?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. So what I highly recommend is, once you will complete this certificate, you get your certificate of completion by submitting your assessments. You should you should apply for PMP exam straight away so that in 2 days you can get your approval. And here also remember that most of the time you get this approval that, okay, you are eligible for PMP exam. However, in few cases, they may audit you. They may ask you further questions. In that case, they may give you 1 more month to basically prove your experience, prove your project management uh, education, and your standard education. They give you normally 1 month. Now, if your name comes under audit, then it would be pretty tough to appear for exam before 31st of December 2020. However, if your application approves, and there are strong chances it will approve, the reason is you are doing this course with an authorized training partner. Once you do this course with an authorized training partner, PMI trusts them. So there are strong chances that your application will be accepted in first go. However, if it comes under audit, PM Training School is always available to help you in fulfilling the requirements of the audit. We will explain you what to do, how to do, and what are the things PMI normally looks in audit of an application. Yeah, so we were talking about once your application is accepted, book your exam. For example, you are finishing this course on 22nd of November. Maybe just take 1 more month and just before Christmas appear for it. And you are right, Tanya. Sometimes these exam centers are busy. You really cannot find a place there. In that case, then you can go for proctor exam. You can book your exam at home or at your office. For that sake, you just need a camera. You just need a tidy space, and you have to show your space to your invigilator, and they will confirm that, okay, there is no helping material in the room.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Now, let's talk about different type of questions that may come on your CAPM or PMP exam. As I already told you, these questions would be MCQs. When we say MCQs, mean 4 options available. However, those 4 options would be based on a question statement. Question statement for CAPM would be easy. For PMP, it would be tough. These questions would be situational questions that will not only test your knowledge, but also your skill as well. There would be few questions where out of, for example, 4 options, you will feel that, for example, option 2 and 3, they are not correct at all. But you will find that option 1 and 4 both are looking very, very correct. Then it would be tough to choose from them. Okay. So this type of question, you need to be careful. Also, there will be some questions in which the statement will contain some irrelevant information. That irrelevant information, what I'm saying is basically, this is a statement. Here they talk about project scope, here they talk about project quality, but the actual question is about project schedule. So you need not to think about scope or quality because they are just to distract you. In fact, the question is about the schedule or schedule conflict. There would be some questions where there could be some made up terms. When I say made up terms, if you didn't complete PMP or CAPM training course, you will not aware of any made up terms because you don't know what are the actual terms. But once you will finish this course and your own prep, you will have a very clear idea that what are different terms normally used in PMI framework for project management. So if you find some made up terms, straight away that answer would be wrong. most of the questions would be where your understanding would be important instead of remembering something. When I say remembering something, we will soon see that in project management, the whole framework is based on some processes, and each process has inputs, outputs, and tools and techniques. Okay, it means that you have to face around 100 of inputs, 100 of outputs, and maybe 250 tools and techniques. You cannot remember all of them, isn't it? So, in fact, most of the questions would be where you need not to remember anything, but you should have very clear understanding about a particular input or particular tool and technique. For example, a technique called brainstorming. You should have very clear idea when brainstorming is used, where it's applicable, where it is not applicable. Similarly, there would be some questions where they will talk about some new approaches, as we talked about hybrid approach or agile approach, and how they could be applicable to a particular scenario. There also could be some questions where there would be more than one item. Okay, let me explain this to you, what I am saying. When we will be learning about resource management or team management, we will talk about a concept that is called Tuckman model for team formation. Mean when we form a team, how many stages this process goes through. In fact, it goes through 5 processes. The first process is forming, second process is storming, where basically the farm team start arguing with each other and start there could be some conflicts in the start. And the third stage is, for example, norming, when they start settling down as a team. Fourth stage is performing. When they normalize, then they start performing and they become high performing team. And the last stage is, for example, adjourning. Okay, where a team is adjourned when project is finished. Now, if a question gives you this sequence, okay, and sorry, one option gives you this sequence: forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning, and other option gives you another sequence, for example, performing, storming, norming, forming, adjourning, something like that. Then in that case, you have to basically eliminate those options which doesn't make sense to you. Or in other words, you will choose these options: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. All other options would be wrong answers. Another type of questions are excessively wordy questions. When we say basically they write a whole paragraph, a big paragraph, and then you have to read through the whole paragraph, and then you have to answer the questions out of 4 MCQs. Normally what I do, I don't read the whole paragraph. I just read the last sentence of the paragraph and then look at the options. I would have a very clear understanding that, okay, out of these 4 options, 2 are wrong. And I have to choose rest of the 2. And most of the time from last sentence, sorry, in last sentence, there is answer. Sorry, there is a message from Pedro, and according to him, he cannot hear me. Yeah, Pedro, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
That was a while ago at the start. So.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. So, guys, any questions up to this point?
No.
No, thanks.
All good.
Okay, so Now, how to study for this PMP exam? Again, everybody has its own style of study. It totally depends how you attempt your PMP or CAPM exam. The resources I provided you, the most important resource is the resource book, which contain all the relevant information, uh, all the free resources, other free resources, and all the concepts required for CAPM or PMP exam. So learning resource is the most important book that I sent to you. On top of that, I provided you some additional notes, additional study material that include many different concepts, some formulas, and also flashcards that you could use to test your understanding about project management. On top of that, I provided you two mock exams. They will help you to test your knowledge. If you are doing around 80% of the score out of those exams, consider yourself ready. They are 200 question exams so that you can really get that feeling. Also, I provided you an assessment. That assessment consists of some quizzes and one exam. That exam is a very detailed exam, comparatively tough exam. If you can score around 65% of the marks in the exam that is given as an assessment, consider yourself prepared for the exam. Also, I will provide you all these videos. These videos will be helpful if you have any question about any particular concept. When you become PMI member, you can also download PMI body of knowledge. They normally call it PMBOK, Project Management Body of Knowledge. This is a foundational standard on project management. It is very thorough, very detailed. I would highly recommend if you get some time, you should go through that standard at least once. It's around 500 to 600 pages, but will give you a good understanding what PMI is talking about in terms of project management. Any questions?
No, I think.
I've got a
So
question, Faiz.
Yes.
Sorry. So could you actually get yourself a membership
Yeah.
at any time, and
Anytime.
just so you can download the PIM book? Okay.
It is highly recommended. In fact, that's the task of the today. If you are willing and interested in becoming PMI member, I would highly recommend that to try to get that membership as early as possible so that you can download PMBOK. PMBOK will be issued to you against your name, and that would be one of the main resource.
Okay, thanks for that.
Okay, now we already talked about PMIs. This is basically PMI terminologies. That's basically what PMI looks at project management. It talks about those particular words used in PMBOK. It talks about how to plan a project, what is included in project planning, if project planning is the whole thorough planning or only it's a schedule that is basically developed in MS Project or Primavera. And what activities a project manager should do when project work is being done, and how much is important to close a project in an appropriate way. And so these things are basically pretty important while you are studying CAPM or PMP. That was our first chapter, where we have seen few tips, few tricks, how to prepare and appear for CAPM and PMP. Now we are going to talk about actual project management. not about the exam, no boring things, all about project management. So let's start our discussion by defining our project. What do you think, guys? What is a project? How can we distinguish a project from our ongoing repetitive work, or in other words, operations?
I think the project could be on certain time and number of employees and
Yeah.
special costs like
Mhm.
budget.
Yeah. So, I mean, two important points you mentioned, that as compared to, sorry, let me bring the pointer. Okay. One is that it always has a fixed timeline or schedule. Second, it always has a fixed budget. Obviously, that could be changed, depends on how project goes. But in the start, we normally set a budget. What else? Yes, guess. What do you think? What else?
This is my the scope of the project.
Project, yeah, it has always a defined scope, isn't it? So, when we say scope, it always result in some deliverables, some outcomes. That outcome could be a product, could be a service, or could be a change, could be a process improvement. True. So, schedule, budget, and scope. What else?
Resources, like um, different resources and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so you may have a project team. Normally what happens is, like, normally that this team is defined in the start of a project, instead of like in operation. Normally we have resources for day-to-day work, but normally project team is well defined in the start of a project, and they clearly know that they are going to work on a project, for example, for 6 months or for 1 year. So a project team, normally a well-defined project team, and as a project manager, you wish that this project team should remain intact throughout the life cycle of a project. Yes, what else?
Do you talk about like the project inputs,
Yeah,
like business cases and data?
true,
But they're included in something there, aren't they?
true. Normally a project is started when a business case is developed. Business case is basically the document that helps to secure funding for a project, or maybe a program or a portfolio. We will talk about it, but yeah, very important input is business case before start of a project. So let's go back and define a project in a more formal way. Normally, it's a temporary endeavor. When say temporary endeavor, it means that it will always has a start date and end date. It's not compulsory that this temporary endeavor uh, is for 1 month, 2 months. Even it could be expanded over years, maybe 5 years project or very long projects. Just think about healthcare projects. They are much longer than just few months or even for a year, but they always have a start date or end date. An important thing is they always result in some deliverables that could be a product, a service, or a result. This uh, product, service, or result normally is very unique, and it could be tangible, it could be intangible, but it is normally very unique that could be used by the organization or operational team of the organizations. On top of that, normally there is always a budget for a project. We wish that we remain within the budget, but sometimes we have to make adjustment in the budgets. Similarly, scope that is normally set when we do planning, and we normally try to achieve the scope of our project with the help of project team. And most importantly, any project always have a project manager assigned from the start of a project. This project manager, he or she is the one who got the authority to use project resources, project budget to achieve project scope within the schedule. Any question?
No.
Okay, so projects, they always result in some particular or unique solutions. As I already mentioned, they could be product or service or a change within the organization or a process improvement of an organization. My question is, can anybody of you tell me an example of a project that resulted in a product from your own organization?
Actually, we designed before an air handling unit, which is new at like dehumidification unit. At
Yeah.
certain time, it was out of our like regular work. So
Yeah.
that's I think an example of a product.
Yeah, true. A humidification unit that you developed, and it was basically a separate project. Yeah, this was one of the product your company launched.
Yeah.
Anybody else with an example of a product when a product is produced as a result of a project?
A health and safety package.
Yeah, when it is the whole health and safety package, it is a product, no doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, and any example of a service that is started as a result of a project?
Grace here. So we actually deliver different services in network services mainly.
Yep.
We've got WAN, cloud UC,
Yeah,
use trunk service, for instance. So we have the sales contracts in place, and we deliver that products and services, but mainly services. And once we finish the project, then we hand it over to the BAU or operation.
yeah, for the operation. So for different clients, you offer variety of different services. For example, cloud services, LAN or WAN services, or similar services. Yeah, make a lot of sense. Any examples of a project that resulted in process improvement within an organization?
Yeah, in my case, I think our site went into the increase of the production rate.
Yeah.
The processes were all the supporting operations were analyzed, and what machineries need to be replaced or
Yeah.
improved to accommodate the higher feed.
True. So this is very good example of like how a project can result in process improvement. In fact, that project was started for this purpose, to improve the production rate and basically do all thorough work, including what work needs to be done, what process steps need to be improved, what machinery is required, so on and so forth. Yeah, fully agreed. Any other example of from product, service, or process improvement or change?
Shift pattern change.
Yeah.
So going to 24/7 from 24/5.
Yeah. So this is another example. And similarly, nowadays, everybody is talking about digital transformation. That digital transformation is a big change in any organization. And normally, one or multiple projects or even the whole program is launched to digitally transform one organization. That normally helps not only in organizational change, but to improve the processes. The, so these type of projects are very common. In fact, the future is for these type of projects. Any question? Now, my next question is, we talked about project, we define it, but the question is why project exists? Why not just operations? Why organizations launch different projects, different programs?
I think it's mainly to improve their organization and following the new features and reducing the cost like that, or some many other options as well.
True. So, basically, all those are through which organizations get improved. And they set their strategic objectives. To achieve these strategic objectives, many different programs and projects are launched so that those objectives could be achieved. And business value should be added into the organization. Why? What could be the other reasons to start a project?
Have a clear focus on the deliverables that, that are outside of operations.
True. So basically, to achieve those strategic objectives where our organization really want to go. For example, in 2020, we had these strategic objectives. In 2023, we want our organization to this level, or we normally call it future state. Our organization want to achieve that future state. So to achieve that future state, normally different strategic objectives are formed, and to achieve those objectives, different initiatives are launched, and those initiatives could be project or program or could be a portfolio. In the end, the purpose is to provide the business value to the organization. Now, when we talk about business value, this business value need not to be tangible. It could be tangible, it could be intangible. What do you think, guys? Okay, so let's move further. We already talked about operations. Operations are normally ongoing repetitive works that don't result in a unique product, service, or process improvement. Why it's important to see the difference between operations and projects? Because sometimes on exams, they may ask you a scenario where they're talking about operations, and you should have understanding how to distinguish projects from operations. Now, let's continue with our discussion. Please note that in our second chapter, we are touching different aspects of project management and project management framework, organizations, enterprises, and many different concepts associated around these domains. One of the concept is governance. Guys, when we talk about governance, governance within an organization or even within our department, what do you think? What does it mean, governance?
I think just to so everybody is aligned, across the same standard or policies in a certain project or in a certain program. Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. So, when we talk about governance, they are basically they define an organizational structure where basically that helps to align the objectives of each individual, each project, each program, each portfolio with the strategic objectives of the organization. Everybody should be working for those strategic objectives or strategic goals set by the organization. And governance ensure that everybody got the right policies, right procedures that help them to guide towards those strategic objectives. Now here, I would like to talk about some concepts, but uh, with the help of a whiteboard. There is a particular terminology used by PMI, and this terminology is called OPM. OPM is, or it stands for Organizational Project Management. Basically, this is an umbrella term, or you can say it is a framework that help us to achieve the strategic goals or objectives of an organization with the help of portfolios, programs, and projects. Now, when we talk about portfolio, what does it mean, portfolio? Portfolio is the way through which we implement our strategic objectives. Under portfolio, there could be multiple programs. For example, program 1, program 2, there could be some sub-portfolios in main portfolio. And there could be some individual projects in a portfolio. Or there could be number of different operations. When we talk about portfolio, let's talk about Fonterra's organizational structure. The whole Fonterra, its operations, its projects, they are controlled with the help of just one portfolio. Under that portfolio, there are many different sub-portfolios, around 6 sub-portfolios. Normally, at a time, they have around dozens of programs working, and there are around 100 of projects under those portfolios, but there is just one portfolio. In fact, when we talk about ministries, ministries are just like a portfolio. There could be many portfolios under that one, there could be many sub-portfolios under that ministries, and they are running many different programs or individual projects, and many different operations are going on. So this is portfolio, and it helps us to implement our strategic goals or achieve our strategic goals with the help of different programs, projects, portfolio, so on and so forth. Normally, portfolio managers are senior level managers, or quite senior in the hierarchy, and they normally called portfolio managers. Now let's talk about programs. When we talk about programs, programs are combination of more than one project, and those projects are normally run in a coordinated fashion to achieve the objectives which are not available by running those projects separately. For example, 𝐂𝐀 𝐂𝐀 was a program when it was launched. It was not just a single project. In fact, there were many different projects under that program, but the main aim was 𝐂𝐀. Not a single project was able to achieve that goal, main 𝐂𝐀. There were facilities projects, construction projects, surveying projects, electrical, telecommunication, mechanical, all variety of different projects were there, and they should be run in a coordinated fashion so that we can achieve our 𝐂𝐀 that otherwise won't be able to achieve. And then there comes projects. Okay, let's talk about project later. Programs. In programs, there could be, as I just told you, more than one project. There could be some sub-programs, and also there could be some operational activities. Very few, but there could be some operational activities. Then there comes projects. We already defined projects. However, we didn't define project management. What do you think, guys? What is project management? Yes, Tanya, what do you think?
You're asking what project management is?
Yeah.
So I guess meeting the scope and objectives of a more single set of outcomes or deliverables that may lie in connection to other projects, but towards one program in that context.
Yeah, there could be some individual projects. They need not be part of a program. Okay, so let's consider project just a single entity. They could be part of a program, but they could be individual projects. And I agree that the purpose is to achieve the scope. Manage a project in such a way so that you can achieve your scope. Anybody else?
I think project management, it consists of a series of processes and knowledge and the skills and the resources required in order to deliver the goal of that particular project.
True. So basically, project management is use of your skills, use of your knowledge, and apply right tools and techniques and processes to achieve project objectives, or in other words, project scope in a successful manner. And when we say in a successful manner, normally we say that our project will be completed in a successful manner if it is going to achieve project scope within budget and within schedule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if any of budget, schedule, or scope, we normally call them triple constraints. If any of these constraints are not properly managed or taken care of, then our project is not considered a successful project. For example, we achieve our scope within 6 months of defined schedule, but instead of spending 1 million, we completed this project in 1.5 million. Would we consider it a successful project? Obviously, no. Similarly, if a project took much more than expected, then in terms of time, we won't consider them a successful project. In fact, these three constraints, triple constraints, are very important to determine either a project is successful or not. That's why we call them iron triangle. Okay. And also we call them iron triangle due to another reason. And the other reason is when there is a change in scope. For example, if we are building a house, suddenly client said that I don't want 120 square meter house, I want 140 square meter house with an additional room, and we already set the base for our home. What would happen? Scope is changed.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything goes out of kilter.
Yeah, and remember, the impact on budget and schedule won't be linear. It would be non-linear. For example, initially for 100 square meter, the client is paying you $300,000. For 120 square meter, don't think that cost would be 360 square meter in a linear fashion. Okay, it could be in a non-linear fashion, and this cost could be maybe $400,000. Okay, so this is iron triangle that is well connected with each other. For a successful project, these triple constraints or these components of iron triangle must be well managed. Any question?
Not for
If
me.
oh,
Yes.
sorry, Tanya.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I have a question regarding the portfolio.
Yes.
I'm not sure, where we are going next to, but I might just raise this one up. So, for instance, in a large company or enterprise, it is potentially possible that there will be two portfolios running parallel to each other.
True.
Now, when they connect to each other under a certain program, let's say program 1 in your example, or program 2 right there, has got a connection into a particular project under program 3 of portfolio B.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it more complex.
Much more complicated structure. Yeah.
But that exists, obviously.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. True.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
it is called sort of a completely different portfolio, not a sub portfolio.
Yeah,
Like
not a
the
sub.
Fintera
Yeah,
example.
true.
Right.
So
Okay.
that won't be under portfolio A, but it could be a totally separate portfolio here. But normally portfolios are one or two within a ministry or an organization. That's why we talked about Fintera, where they just use one portfolio. But there could be more than one portfolio.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who do project management, normally they go for the certification called project management professionals. People who manage programs, multiple projects, and there are multiple project managers under them working with them, they normally go for PMP or program management professional certification. And the people who go for portfolio, who are very senior in the hierarchy, they normally go for PFMP or portfolio management professional.
Okay. All right. Not that I'm going there just yet, but are they all covered within the PMI?
Yes, they all are covered within PMI.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, those certifications are pretty tough and
Yeah.
on much higher level. But again, once you will have that experience, surely you can go, because many people are PGMP.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. In fact, we offer PGMP as well in New Zealand, but at the moment we don't offer PFMP. Okay, let's go back to our slides. So we talked about governance, we talked about portfolio management, we talked about program management. We also talked about project management. Now, basically, let's talk further about project management. When we say project management is not only an art, but also a science. We will see that why it's an art, because it involves leadership skills, soft skills, conflict resolution skills, problem solving skills, so many different soft skills into it. On the other side, project management is established, especially this particular standard by PMI, is established based on some processes, like any other scientific processes. And the people who studied science in their year 10, they might be aware of that any process normally have some inputs. These are the things that are required for the process, and we apply different tools and techniques on these inputs to get some output. Let's take the one example of project management process. And the name of this process we are going to talk about is develop a project charter. Project charter is the first document of a project. Develop a project charter, or I am writing it PC. This is when we initiate our project. With the help of business case, when our funding is approved, we normally initiate a project. Okay. To initiate a project or to develop a project charter, we might require some inputs. Okay. And then we apply some tools and techniques on those inputs to get output. Normally, that output is a project charter. Now, guys, think what you require to start a project. What type of input you require?
Business case.
Yeah, fantastic. So business case is one of the most important input required to start a project. What else?
You need an approved project budget.
Normally, okay, initial funding is normally approved under business case. However, project budget is normally approved when we plan for the budget, and we will do that planning later in the planning phase. At the moment, we are just in the initiation, in the start of a project. We are just going to start a project. So business case is one document. Any other?
Resources, does that actually fall under initiation?
Resources, again, yeah. In fact, later, resource planning is the whole different knowledge area. We will talk about it. However, I agree that when we develop charter, normally it's 2 to 3 pages document. One of the important section of this document is pre-assigned resources. Pre-assigned resources are those resources, if we talk about human resource or project team, which are already assigned to the project. You need to work with this project team, and that's all. So yeah, resources are part of project charter, especially pre-assigned resources.
I think we need the scope and design in the initiation.
Not really.
Okay.
Basically, again, we are still one step back. We are still starting our project. We are talking about that process where we are just starting our project. In fact, another important input is called benefits management plan. Now, the business analysts, when they develop business case, they also develop another plan called benefits management plan. When we will complete this project, we will get some business value out of it. We will get some benefits out of it. How to realize those benefits, how to manage those benefits, there should be a plan there. Normally, business analysts develop that plan. This plan is also an input to develop a project charter. Similarly, request from the clients. There is an external project. Client wants something and they provided you a proposal document or a requirements document or a business case to you, whatever you name it. So a request from client could initiate a project, and we have to develop a project charter. There are two other inputs. We call them environmental factors. We are going to discuss about them. And OPAs, organizational process assets. We will go in depth of them soon, but they are also here as input. For example, environmental factors are your organizational culture or overall value of your organization or some other regulatory constraints, government constraints. You always think about them before starting a project. And then tools and techniques. Tools and techniques in project management. One example is, for example, subject matter expert, or you can say expert judgment. where senior manager, they sit down, they look on the business case, and then based on the business case and benefits management plan or a client request, while keeping enterprise factors in mind, enterprise environmental factors in mind, they basically develop a project charter. So this is just one process. In fact, there are 49 processes in project management framework. They look quite a lot, but believe me, when you will get your PMP or CAPM, or when you will be ready for your certification, you will remember all those processes by heart because you will study many times those processes. This was just one example of the process. Now, let me do something. Process groups. You remember the exam domains? There were 5 domains: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling. And the last one was project closure or closing domain. In fact, in PMI world or in this framework, the same domains are also called process groups. What are process groups? From name, you can see that they are groups of the processes. In other words, similar processes are combined together and we call them process groups. You just seen one example of a process, develop project charter. When we do this process at the time of project initiation. So it means that develop project charter is a process of this process group called initiating. In fact, there is an other process called identify stakeholders that is also part of this process group. 2 processes in first process group called initiating. Then there are 24 processes in second process group. And those processes are similar. They all are relevant with the planning. For example, project management planning, scope management planning, schedule management planning, so on and so forth. Then there are around 10 processes that are under executing or executing process group. And these processes are linked with those activities that we do in the executing. For example, we are directing work to our project team. Okay. Normally this process is called direct and manage project work. This is one example out of these 10 processes. Then there comes monitoring and controlling. There are total 12 processes under monitoring and controlling process group or this exam domain. And then there is just one process under closing process group, and in total there are 49 processes on which the project management framework by PMI is established. Any question?
Sorry, if I were, so the 49 processes, should we be familiar with all of the processes underneath?
Yeah.
Are they in the resources or are they on lines somewhere?
Yeah. In fact, in rest of 4 weeks, we are going through each of the process one by one. We are going to look on their inputs, their tools and techniques and outputs. What is the purpose of each process? How each process is interlinked with another process. In fact, we will start our discussion with the system level view of this framework. We will see that how this whole framework and its processes are interconnected with each other.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
On one side, I said that similar processes are grouped together in process groups. On the other side, they are also divided into different knowledge areas. These are the knowledge areas a project manager should be well versed. Project manager should have good understanding of these knowledge areas while managing a project. Those knowledge areas here that are given are 10, starting from integration management, then scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. They are in total 10 knowledge areas. In fact, our chapters, after 3 introductory chapters, rest of the chapters are on these knowledge areas. For example, chapter 4 on integration management, 5 on scope, so on, so forth, up to 13 that is on stakeholder management. In fact, a project manager not only should have good understanding of these knowledge areas, but few more knowledge areas as well. And they are, for example, requirements management, change management, configuration management, so on, so forth. Any question about knowledge areas? Let's move further. We are already talking about OPM, organizational project management, an umbrella term, a framework that helps to implement organizational strategy with the help of portfolios, programs, and projects. So OPM provides the organizational strategies, whereas projects, programs, and portfolios, we really want them to align their objectives with the organizational objectives. Let's have a look on another term called Project Management Office. How many of you got PMO in your current organization or previous organizations?
No.
Me? We have one.
Awesome. So, in fact, the organizations who do a lot of project management, they normally have PMOs. They are project management offices, and their purpose is, in fact, to oversee and standardize projects. The projects done in that organization should be done in a standard way. We can divide our PMOs based on their role into 3 types. They could be just supportive, they could be both supportive and controlling, and they could be fully directive. What does it mean? It means that if a PMO just only provide policies, methodologies, templates, training, lesson learned, and project team and project manager, they are basically with a lot of authority to do projects as they want, and PMO is just supportive. That is called supportive PMOs. Then there comes some PMOs who are not only supportive, not only provide policies, methodologies, templates, and lesson learned, but they also provide guidelines. They also ensure that the project activities, project decisions, project deliverable, everything is aligned with organizational quality and compliance requirements. They are called controlling PMOs. Then there comes the last type. They are called directive PMOs. These PMOs are those type of PMOs who basically run the projects. They are the one who form the teams. They are the one who assign the project managers. They are the one who closely monitor project activities. My question is, what type of PMO you got?
Vice, I think for us, I have all the 3 types.
Mean you got one PMO or multiple PMOs?
Oh, just one PMO, but just reading through the description, it feel like they yeah, it all aligned to what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah. So in that case, they could be directive, because directive also not only provide support, but they also control and also give the directions. So we normally say that they are directive
Right.
PMOs. They have the whole authority of running the projects.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I think in our company we have quality control and quality assurance. I don't know if we can consider it under project management, but they are supportive and giving guidance for the team, and they give the policies, template, and all other things.
In fact, those are quality departments. They they work with project teams. They provide all the support and guidance, but they are not PMOs. They help project teams in quality assurance and quality control activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our case, we don't have a really a project management office, but we have a lot of controls coming from above.
Yeah.
So, but it shows all these policies, methodologies, templates, especially when they have developed and they have to document control all the templates, and it
Yeah.
will be put on the internet. But they're also controlling in a way that it needs to be, you need to be aligned with the organizational practices and procedures
Yeah.
with the same trading. And it's more of, there is some people that are looking on different types of areas in
Yeah.
one project.
True.
The stakeholder, there's the CSR, what you call as a corporate social responsibility
Yeah.
manager, coming from the head office, and it will go to several departments in our organization. So it's really complex actually, and quite
True.
confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't have a one organization only in our site. We have two organizations. We have two. Actually, there are several organizations, and there are expatriate advisors as well,
True.
and there are managers coming from also from the corporate. So complex. I don't know which format it follows.
Basically, they are different stakeholders. There could be different departments within the organization who are involved in a project. They may have team members that are part of that project team, and there could be functional or line managers or operation manager who come as a subject matter expert and give opinions. They could be part of some project steering committees or program steering committees. But here, when we talk about PMOs, normally they are well-established offices, well-established departments, and their purpose is to ensure that project and program management activities are going as per standards.
Yeah, that's really great. In our case, it's really confusing because it's messed up with the operational department. So
True.
you do some projects as well as you should perform your function in the operation. So it's a mix up.
True.
It's a mix up.
In fact, the topic we are discussing next is talking about the same thing, Pedro. And this is the last topic, and we will conclude our 2 days discussion on this topic. And this is about organizational structures, that what you just mentioned, that structures could be very complex. But let's have a look on different organizations structure, and we are going to review those structures while keeping in the context of project management, while keeping the context of authority of a project manager in different type of organizations. In fact, if we want to draw our different type of organizations on a line, on one side we have very traditional organizational structure, very hierarchical structure, and this type of structure is called functional organizations. On the other side of this continuum or this line, we have organizations which are called project-oriented organizations. Now let's come back to our functional organizations. These are the organizations which are pretty bureaucratic, very particular structure. There is a CEO or president, and under president there are multiple departments, and there are departmental heads for each department. For example, head of marketing, head of finance, head of manufacturing, head of R&D, head of engineering, head of IT operations, so on, so forth. Okay. And under each uh, head, there are a lot of different employees working. Normally, in this type of organization, for example, a manufacturing unit or a factory, uh, the number of projects are much lesser. And if there are some projects, they are normally under the control of head of department. You can basically give any name. They could be called head of departments, they could be called operations manager, they could be called line manager or functional managers. You can just name them whatever you want. Normally projects are being run under them, and they are the one who got all the authorities and obviously responsibility of those projects. When I say authority, it's about on the resources, on the budget, on the timeline, so on and so forth. The role of project manager is very limited, and project manager is just responsible to the head of the departments. Uh, Normally, in these type of organizations, project managers are called project coordinators for the business or business activity. I think one of the aspirant, I think it was Grace, who worked in this role. And sometimes we call them project coordinators, sometimes we call them project expeditors. They are the one who basically help to achieve projects, but projects are not well defined in functional type organizations, and project manager authority is much less. On the other side, we have project oriented organizations. Here, the whole structure is based on projects. For example, the setup of Huawei in New Zealand, or setup of Nokia, or maybe even Honeywell, uh, where basically they do projects for their different clients, for example, for Spark or for Vodafone, for 2degrees, any of them. But normally they really don't have any particular operation within the country. They normally do the projects. While they are doing one project, they keep on winning another project so that their work should keep on going, and their project team members should keep on doing their job. However, it is possible in project-oriented organization where there are multiple projects. Once one project is finished, uh, the employee, the senior engineer might not have job. They have to quit their job. An organization may say that, okay, once we will have another project, we will hire you, or we will run our recruitment process again. Now you don't have any role available. So uh, one day you will find someone a senior manager. Next day you will find him riding an Uber. But this is what happens in project-oriented organizations, because team members don't have their home. Once project is finished, their job is finished. However, organizations keep on uh, winning or trying to win more and more projects so that their team members should be engaged. In this type of structure, project managers have a lot of authority. They are the one who manage the whole projects. They have authority to use budget, to use resources, but to complete the project and project scope within time. Then there comes the third type of organizations. They are called matrix organizations. Matrix organizations or this type of structures were established to get benefits of both functional organizations and project-oriented organizations. Here, not only they have a lot of departments, but a lot of departments, but there could be many different projects working in these organizations. We can divide matrix organizations into three different types. First type is weak, second type is strong, and last type is balanced. Balanced matrix organizations. In weak organizations, they are more similar to functional organizations. Here, the project managers have comparatively less role, less authority. On the other side, the strong organizations are more like project-oriented organizations, but they may have some operations, some maintenance work, for example, under their belt. So these strong organizations here, project managers have comparatively more authorities, but they also have to face head of departments or line managers or operations managers. And then there comes balanced matrix organizations. These are the organizations where basically power, authority, and responsibility between head of departments and project manager is almost 50-50. There are a lot of work going on in terms of operations, but there are also a lot of projects going on. Project managers are assigned and they have to get team members from different departments to form a project team, and they have to do work with the help of those project team members who could be doing 30 hours on operations, 10 hours on the project, 20 hours on the operation, 20 hours on the project, so on and so forth. So this is called balanced matrix organizations. I have two questions. First, what type of organizational structure did you work in or currently you are working? Yes.
Yep, functional.
So mostly functional organization where there were less project management practices, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Less formal though.
Sure.
A lot of the senior managers upskilled.
Yeah.
And tried to bring in that formality around processes.
Okay. Yeah. And Grace.
Yeah, so I would say we are a combination of a functional organization and a project-orientated organization, because we've got a TPMO.
Yeah.
And it's quite huge as well, from just on a corporate level.
Yeah.
Down to our department, the business delivery.
So it's more like a matrix organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyone else?
Yeah. On my case, I think on the site itself, we are more of a functional organization.
Yeah.
But above us is the corporate organization that is more of a matrix.
Yeah.
Because they manage several sites and also project development. And the project development usually for our case is a big project because you are creating one big mine. So supposedly it's composed of different projects all together in one big project.
Yeah.
So it's more of a combination of the functional and the matrix
organization. And what do you think, which organization is more difficult to work in? Which type of structure?
I think for functional, I thought functional was quite difficult just because you didn't have dedicated resources to deliver the projects.
Yeah.
So they were quite often seconded or, were doing it as part of their normal day-to-day job as well. So project delivery became quite difficult.
Yeah, quite tough. Yeah, anyone else?
It's a case-to-case basis, but for me, it's the metrics because you have a lot of superiors to consider.
Yeah.
And a lot of people contributing uh, on the project. So it sometimes it become it hinders also the delivery of the project.
Yeah, we're in functional organizations. Obviously, it's tough to complete projects, but on the other side, responsibility or impact of those projects is also less. However, if you talk about matrix organization where you have like authority, same like head of department, especially we talk about balanced matrix organizations, then things become much more complicated. Project team members really don't know to whom they need to answer, and there is always a conflict between head of departments and project managers on the resources, and this thing become much tougher where there is shared authority and shared responsibility. There are some other type of organizations as well. For example, hybrid organization that could be of any type. It could be combination of functional matrix and project-oriented organization, but obviously a complex structure. However, there is another type of organization. We call them organic organizations or simple organization structure. Anybody, any idea what type of organization would be they? Organic.
Maybe a flat structure,
Yeah.
small business.
True.
Yeah, just with a
True. Very flat structure, small businesses, startups, where basically you have to wear multiple hats. One day you are CEO, next day you are basically cleaner of your office. And you are the worker, you are everything, you are a recruiter, you are the trainer, you are the developer, you are the tester, you are the main engineer, and you are also doing business development. So normally a structure of 1 to 5 people. This type of structures are called simplest or organic structure. And basically, this was the end of our today's session. Before leaving for the night, any questions?
Excuse me, do we have to submit quiz 1 today because it's like a day 1, or it's gonna be
No.
like?
No. I will let you know that when you need to submit your assessments. The reason is like at the moment our knowledge is not up to that level where we can answer all the questions, and those questions in those quizzes are random from all different domains. So I will let you know.
Thank you.
Any other question?
no, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Yes.
I'm just conscious about the time as well. You know how we've got some works to do the following day, so I think we're over 14 minutes if I have the time correct. But I really don't mind. But yes, I think I just want to share that out as well. I'm not sure if others are also a little bit conscious about it.
So it's already 11:12, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so we will be careful about that, and we will finish our session at 11 p.m. exactly.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, most welcome, Grace. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, guys.